All right, welcome to week 4. We are more than halfway through. This week is a topic that is really near and dear to my heart as an occupational therapist. It's what I call mama ergonomics. So, we've all heard about ergonomics, I'm guessing like ergonomic chair, ergonomic mouse, things like that. But ergonomics is really it, a large part body mechanics, and that's a lot of what we're talking about today, and how we interact with our environment while trying to maintain or reset into good body mechanics and alignment. So the example I always give is like you can have the most perfectly, and you'll see it later in the slides, most perfectly set up desk or chair, $1,200 ergonomically designed chair. But if you don't hold yourself up and using that posture, that ergonomic design really doesn't do anything for your health. So, ergonomics is how we interact with our environment to encourage good body positioning, good body function, or not. And I'm just linking that in to commonly done tasks for moms and adding another layer of proposing that how we go through our day can either positively impact our strength, our alignment, our pelvic health, or can negatively impact that. So my goal at the end today is that you start to be more aware of how you're holding yourself when you're going through your day, and you have some ideas of how to fix it. But I want to start with some more. We've been doing these meditations, guided awareness exercises. I think those are so important, which is why I'm sprinkling them into a lot of these sessions. So before I head over to the slides, I'm going to guide you through a body awareness. And this is not just pelvic floor awareness, this is more body awareness. And I'm going to highlight the common areas where moms tend to hold tension or have pain or have imbalances. So sitting up, no need to stand, but sitting up on your sit bones nice and tall, feet flat on the floor, rolling your shoulders, rolling your neck around. And once you settle into a comfortable position, gently closing your eyes, taking a deep breath in and just feeling where that breath is going. Tuning into your jaw, going through that jaw check-in, lips closed, teeth apart, tongue dropped, throat open, getting that jaw relaxed. And then floating down to your neck. How's your neck feeling? And you can give it a little wiggle. This isn't a static relaxation. Wiggling around. Where do you feel some tension? Maybe you want to rotate your head side to side. Where does it feel good? Where is it tight? Going to your shoulders. I'm a huge fan of these little tiny micro backward shoulder rolls. Kind of get that chest a little more open and just be more aware of tension in our trapezius or our shoulders right here. And then taking another deep breath in and relaxing, blowing that air out, releasing the tension that you've been finding. And then feeling your chest. Does it feel tight, restricted? Does it feel open? And moving to the back between your shoulder blades, around your shoulder blades, around that bra line, the bottom tip of your shoulder blades. You might squeeze your shoulders back, round them, squeeze them back, round. And then going down to your low back. And checking in with your low back, I think it's good to kind of shift around on your sit bones. How is that back feeling? You can do kind of almost a seated hip circle. Shifting around. Where's the tension? Where is it holding? And with your next big exhale, trying to release that tension out. And coming into your hips. So kind of rocking your hips back and forth. Sticking your tailbone between your legs and then sticking it out. Rocking, rocking. And then checking in with your pelvic floor and observing just for a few breaths. Can you feel that lifting and lowering with your breath? And then gently opening your eyes and coming back to the space. All right. So that is a little quick kind of body scan of mama points that I find on a lot of my moms, a lot of tension. So when we find tension, choosing to release it out, let go of it, focusing on that, the releasing, the letting go, rather than, why is that there? Oh my God, that's hurting. Trying to keep it in, especially in that awareness state of just, let me just see if I can release it, let it go. And it's all in here that's releasing it. We're not doing any significant movements that might release it, but attending. So this is a great lead up to then a movement routine. So this is something I have been giving clients for years. I worked for a long time in a chronic pain clinic, and I would tell my clients, okay, I want you to start establishing a movement routine, because movement, when you have chronic pain, movement is one of the best things for you. So if you can all stand up with me, a morning movement, I'd say morning, it doesn't have to be morning, but I think it's a great way to get started. And I'm going to talk real loud so you can hear me. You definitely can't see my face. Let me see if I can tilt up a little. It's kind of nice to be able to see my face. But the goal of this is that you get all your joints moving and rolling, okay, from your head all the way down to your feet. Okay, there's no right or wrong way to move them. It's that you're attending to each joint in your body. I think this is great. This can be done by very early postpartum moms easily and safely. And it's a great routine. It's something when I've been out of my exercise routines, I'll try to start easing back into them by starting this routine for a week. Like, okay, when I get up, I just have to move. Okay, so I go head to toe. You can go toe to head. Doesn't really matter. I have this in the postpartum self-care deck because I think it is that important to just get yourself moving. The more you move, the more you know where you are in space, the more in tune with your body. So I usually start with a little head roll, neck rolling. So our neck's going all directions, and then I might look up and down, and bring my left ear to the side, right ear to the side. Ooh, and that feels really good. So I'm going to do it a few extra times. Then we go down to the shoulders. And as we get our arms moving bigger, we get our chest involved. And this is where sometimes I might roll. There's no right or wrong. I might roll into a little standing cat-cow, where I'm just rolling my hips and rolling my back. Right, my elbows. I usually do my elbows while I do my wrists. So my elbows are extending and bending, and I'm rolling my wrists, and then I flip the direction. Go up and down, open and close those fingers. All right, and now spine and hips. So our spine, we know, of course, you bend and can touch your toes and roll up. But you don't want to forget the lateral to the side, just a gentle reach. We're not going real far. We're staying in your comfort zone and then twisting. And twist. I'm going to repeat that because it feels really good. And hips. I'm going down to my hips. I think hip rolls are great. Another one I love incorporating here is like I'm stepping over a baby gate. And this is good practice for pregnant moms preparing for stepping over baby gates for the rest of the next 10 years. Not that long. Knees get involved. So I'll just do some like, oh, let me just loosen up my leg. Again, no right or wrong. And now I'm going to roll out my ankles. And I kind of flex and point my toe. Rolling out. And you're seeing how dirty my feet are. Okay. So that maybe took 2 minutes. 3 minutes, not very long, but it gets your blood flowing, gets you tuning into how your body is feeling. Great habit to start. Something we should all do more of just this organic movement. Music is great as well. So I'm going to pop over to my slides and Here we go. So this is share. All right, please speak up if you're not seeing. Let's start on slide 1. All right, so week 4, Motherhood Ergonomics is very official here. My Mama Ergonomics. So we did the body awareness meditation already. And daily movement, we've already talked about that. So I'm going to go into what is Mom Life Ergonomics, mindful moments, and realigning through restorative yoga. Okay, this is that body awareness relaxation. So great warm up to any movement or just to begin your day. If you're tuning in with this is a great start, especially if you haven't been doing any movement or exercise. Just start with tuning in. And the morning movement routine. So it needs to be organic. Just go with what feels good. I don't know if any of you know Yoga with Adrienne, but she always says, find what feels good. Yoga with Adrienne, she's like this super YouTube yoga person. Love her and everything she posts there. I love her routines, but she always says, find what feels good. And I think that is so important. And that's what this is all about. So I say, like, you can move through your day as a mom. Like, we all have to move through our day. But when we pause in the morning to build some more awareness in our body, we then are more able to move through our day with awareness and intention. And when you're moving through your day with awareness and intention, you're more likely to notice if things aren't feeling right. And then you can get curious about, why is that not feeling right? And carry on and maybe respond to that, not carry on, but rather respond to that. All right, so are we surviving or are we thriving? So how we sit and stand impacts our pelvic floor. So you can just move through your day. You can stand, we all sit every day. But how you're doing it could just be surviving. Like, I just do it and I don't think about it. Or it can be thriving. It can be inching yourself towards more optimal physical health, which trickles down to more optimal pelvic health. So I want to clarify this though. Poor posture doesn't mean you're going to have pelvic floor problems. Good posture does not mean that you have pelvic floor health. Seen lots of clients with and heard about lots of stories of clients who have like this perfect, what you would perceive as perfect posture, and a lot of issues. Good posture does reduce the risk, and poor posture does increase the risk. So keeping that in mind, this is a why. So we've already been talking about this neutral alignment concept. I think so. And this is the mountain posture, which we will go through next week as well. But the basics of it is head and ears, over shoulders, over hips, over knees, over ankles. And none of these joints are locked into place. And not all of them are stacked over. So in this picture, I am sitting with a sitting mountain posture. Like, my ears are more or less over my shoulders, more or less over my hips. And I'm preserved. We'll talk in the next slide about this natural curves. So I've talked a lot about this pubic bone on this, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. This neutral, what is a neutral alignment of the pelvis? And we had it's the tilting of it. So our pelvis can tilt forward. So this is a forward tilted pelvis, and it can tilt backward. Okay, so this is a posterior tilt. So if I and if you live here can join me, stand up, and I want you to find these sticky outie bones. And keep one hand on the sticky outie bone and then find your pubic bone. Okay, so if you were to walk into a wall, not that you can, especially if you're pregnant, but if you were to walk into the wall, these two bones should touch the wall at the same time. That is neutral alignment. So I tend to posterior tilt, which means I kind of tuck my tail too much, which then undoes my natural curve in my lumbar spine, and it's tilting my pelvis out of neutral alignment. Neutral alignment is where our body wants to be and where all the tissues line up optimally. So that tendency I've had to correct, and I am often checking in, okay, is my pubic bone and this is called your ASIS, or it's the sticky outie bone, are they in line? And when I do that, my natural curve comes back. I get more of a butt back. I don't have a flat butt. And it feels good. If you're really tilted one way or another, when you go in neutral initially and start trying that, it can feel really weird because your body's not used to feeling that position. And it can take time to kind of unwind that and notice like, oh, it does actually feel really good when I'm in neutral alignment. Ideally, when you are in neutral alignment, when you get into this posture, you're like, oh, this takes a lot of work, but it feels good. And I want you to focus on that feeling good, because that work that it takes to feel good is how we strengthen through our day, through our activities, by using our muscles to hold us in the right position instead of just hanging on our skeleton. Please stop me if you have any questions. So preserving the natural curves, that means our spine is not straight. And I think most people are aware of this. And in pregnancy, our spine, our lumbar curve accentuates and our thoracic curve tends to flatten. So in postpartum, we really want to work on getting those natural curves back again. So the neck or the cervical spine should kind of go forward. The mid-back or the thoracic comes out, and then the lumbar spine goes forward, and then the sacral area or your butt should curve back. So if you think about when I flatten my back, my butt tucks under because it's flattening that curve as well. So anywhere we're having not following that natural curve, it impacts the level above and below, and really the whole chain. Now, I'm not a chiropractor, I'm not an expert on this alignment, but and you're not healthcare providers, but having that understanding of there are natural curves. We're not trying to be straight, we're trying to preserve those curves. And when we go back into that natural curve of the spine, everything aligns better. Our muscles align better, our fascia aligns better, our organs align better. So this is a healthy resting posture and where we want to try to get to. All right, so this is another key factor with movement. And this is kind of a prep for next week as well. I call it a bottom-up core engagement. There's a lot of different programs will call it all different things, but it's basically 3 or 4 steps. The first step is the optional one. And there's certainly tasks where engaging or lifting into a Kegel or a pelvic floor contraction is not appropriate, nor is it necessary. And in fact, I more often would say it's a 3-step process, except if you're probably laying on the floor and very intentionally wanting to work on strengthening of your pelvic floor and incorporating Kegels into exercises. Through the day-to-day, it's more step 2, 3, 4. So in this picture, what I am doing is step 1, I'm engaging my pelvic floor. That means I'm doing a lifting Kegel, okay? Step 2 is getting the deep core to engage. So my cue there is to pull the hip bones together. It's a tightening of your corset muscle. So when I exhale, I'm trying to draw my belly button in, but before I go up, because I think it's good to do bottom up, I'm trying to pull these bones together. So if I'm like relaxed, and now I try to pull these hip bones together with my exhale, I don't know if you can see, like my shorts here just got loose. Whereas when I was relaxed, there's a little tension on them. So And you don't see my belly button going in too much because I haven't done that part of it. So now I'm going to, with another exhale, pull my belly button in, and I'm going to try draw my ribs down. So this is a good core engagement. So I'm lifting, I'm pulling, I'm checking my belly buttons in, and it's not hanging, I'm not letting it be floppy as well. It's hard to talk. And then I'm pulling my ribs down. That pulling of the ribs down is what activates your obliques better and gets your obliques involved. So we're getting pelvic floor muscles. We're getting your transverse abdominis. We're getting more of your transverse abdominis by pulling in the belly button. But I think it's key to get the low part and then work on the belly button part, where a lot of moms are skipping the low part and just working on the belly button, and then the ribs down and in gets the obliques firing. So this is a good way if you're about to do something, we'll get into many more examples, lifting your 35-pound 2-year-old. All right, Kegel up, tighten the TA, pull the belly button in, ribs down, and lift. And it sounds like a huge process, but really this, once you've practiced it during exercise, it can turn into something that takes like 2 seconds. And you can very much kind of almost blend them together. Okay, so let's dive into some pictures here. Standing. So this is in my parents' house, but standing to wash dishes. This is the common, so feet are kind of flat, knees are locked out, and I'm just leaning forward. Okay, and you're here for like 10 minutes washing a whole sink load of dishes. And when you walk away, you're like, oh my God, my feet are killing me. My hips hurt. I feel pressure in my pelvic floor. And oh my God, my mid back is screaming and my shoulders are super tight. Okay, because this is not preserving your natural curves. And there's really no alignment here. I am just hanging on my bones. Okay, this would be a demonstration of an improvement. During functional tasks, it's hard to achieve optimal, perfect alignment because we have to do something. So I can't look up or I can't see what I'm washing, but I can try to align my shoulders, my hips, my knees, and my ankles. I can also find myself doing this to wash a few dishes and then straighten up to this for the next few. And then I sink out of it again and I go over here, but then I'm like, oh, okay, let me stand up again because you might have something screaming at you or nudging you like, hey, I'm kind of sore. You straighten up and you align. But if you're not thinking about where to go or you're just powering through, you're not respecting your body signals and you're not holding your body in optimal position. So this is a simple example of how it could look. All right, bending. So another idea, I wanted this to be dishwasher, but literally when we took those pictures, the dishwasher was running. So we're doing an oven. I'm not proposing that we're cooking all the time using the oven, but we are likely having to bend, whether it be to put a child in a pack and play, or it be to just pick up a box off the front step. There's a lot of bending, and we tend or reach into the bottom drawer of the refrigerator, like bending. All the time we're bending. And the straight leg bending is often the easiest, or we're just leaning down and crooking our neck. And you can see again, what's wrong here? Not preserving the natural curves of my spine. I'm not really engaging my core in any way. Like it's kind of just bloop, hanging out. And I'm trying to think of, okay, how can I improve this? Well, I could squat. So added benefit of incorporating squats for bending is you start to redevelop your glute strength. When your glutes are stronger, you have less low back pain. Weak glutes are a major factor in low back pain. So if you're having some chronic low back pain, it's definitely good to try just incorporating more squatting into your day. It opens up the low back and it strengthens the glutes. So here I definitely, if this was a hot oven, I don't know how realistic this would be, but it's demonstrating that you can bend. And now the curves of my spine are much better. You can see the rounding at my thoracic spine. You can see my little lumbar curve and then the sacral curve here. I'm strengthening my glutes and I'm hopefully engaging my core better. I can't really tell. Okay, keep going. Sitting. So this goes back to my example of like, this is what I'm sitting on right now. And it's an ergonomically designed stool, but I can do that. Is that good body mechanics? Like, no, not at all. And do I go there every day? Yes. Yes, I do. I melt down. This is here. Okay. Rounded shoulders, goose necked, totally sitting on my sacrum rather than my sit bones. My feet are not in a great position. And I get achy. This is when these muscles get super sore. My mid back is killing me. My low back might be killing me. Okay, if I sit up over my sit bones, natural curves return. But what does this take? It takes strength. So I may not be able to hold it that long, but that's okay. I sink out of it. And as I sink out of it, I return to it and make adjustments again. Okay, so this has, I mentioned feet flat on the floor. Ideally, feet are flat on the floor. This stool is designed, your knees are to be here, taking some weight off your spine and transitioning some weight into your legs. And so, of course, it's not, you wouldn't have your feet flat on the floor. But for most, if you're in a more standard chair sitting up over your sit bones, your feet should be able to touch the floor flat. If they can't, my suggestion is to put something under your feet so that they can, or lower the chair if that's possible. But often that's not. But just a book. Some books are great. Flat feet. It's going to give you a base of support that's going to help you engage your deep core more easily and sit taller. And the more you're sitting tall, so if you're at a job or you're at a desk a lot of the day, the more you're sitting tall, the more you're using those muscles that are going to help you better perform those core exercises, hip exercises, returning to your optimal physical activity in postpartum, because you're starting to reestablish that base strength, that foundational strength through maintaining a good posture. All right, pushing a stroller. There are a lot of dynamics at play with pushing a stroller. Number one is finding a stroller that really fits you. So especially if you are a taller mom, I'm not that tall, I'm about 5'5". But compared to my single stroller, this stroller is so much better because it has a super flexible handlebar and it can adjust. So I'll come to this middle picture first. So this is the most ideal picture. This is not good. So it's making me hunch forward. And this is a demonstration of, for taller moms, how a lot of strollers, the handlebars don't go up high enough. And they can be at a poor angle, even though they say ergonomically designed handlebar. I'm like, ergonomically for who? We're all different heights. We all have different body shapes. We have different ways we want to hold the handlebar. Like, there's no standard one size fits all ergonomically designed handlebar. Notice here my wrists, super flex. The super flex position can amplify wrist pain, a common pain point in moms in postpartum. So a fix for that, if you notice, I'm not holding this great. I'm still kind of rolling my wrist back in this last photo, but I could easily roll my wrist forward and then you could see how my elbow through my hand would be in one line. So that's an ergonomic improvement. Does this have anything to do with my pelvic floor? No, it doesn't, but it's another aspect of Mama Ergonomics is not just about pelvic floor. So being able to align your handlebar with your body. So ideally, just like at a desk, the handlebar should be pushed where your elbow is at 90 degrees, and you can keep a neutral wrist rather than this is an extended wrist. Okay, I'll get off my wrist soapbox and go back to spine. So here, my head is coming forward. This is a very common demonstration or observation I see with moms. And when I see this posture, the first thing I think of is a weak core. So by putting my head forward, I get more weight into the stroller, making it easier to initiate that push and sustain that pushing, especially with these like huge double strollers, but even with a little single one. So if you're finding that you're going like this, you are relying on your body weight to get that stroller moving. I want you to instead try to align your ears with your shoulders. And as you initiate that push, you're exhaling first. So when we do that long, forceful exhale, our deep core engages, and then we start. So you're making your core help with the pushing of the stroller instead of just relying like, I'll just lean into it. Well, any of us lean into it will go, but that's similar to just hanging on your skeleton when you're standing. We can do it and it works, but is it the best for your body and the recovery of your body and the strengthening of your body? No, it's not. Instead, we should be engaging the core before we begin. You could do that 3-step engagement. I wouldn't advise including a Kegel, but instead, engage, pull my hip bones together, belly button in, ribs down, exhale, push, and off you go. And so it would look a little bit more like this. I'm much more, if I were to be looking forward, my ears are much more in line with my shoulders. They're not perfect, but they're improved. Shoulders are more or less over hips. Knees are, of course, moving with walking and ankles. All right. Please chime in if there's any questions. All right. Holding or carrying. The next slide is baby carrying. So I'm not talking about with a baby carrier. I'm talking about just holding your child. So moms tend to favor, first off, or if we're always holding on one side of our body, what is going to happen to the muscles on that side versus this side? They are going to shorten. So these muscles are going to get really shortened because they're always compressing to hold. You can just see that side of my body is compressed and contracted. They're going to get tight. They're going to get sore. The other side is lengthening and not having to engage as much. So you start to get this left-right imbalance. Okay, 2 directions, both of which I think are good. And if you're doing a little bit of both, you're doing great. First thing is, okay, don't let me hip swing. Okay, so I'm not hip swinging here. I'm holding my really heavy 4-year-old. Actually, she's a really light 4-year-old. I've been blessed with pretty light kids. She's about 35 pounds. So I'm trying to keep my spine straight and more vertical, whereas in the other picture it's tilted, and my hips level. So the hip point that we're looking at are those sticky outie bones, okay? So when I swing, they shift, and now they're straight. How do I get from here to here? Well, you need to engage your deep core. If you're here and you're just kind of holding the baby on your hip, you're not really engaging your core. You can definitely be like pooching out and just totally relax. And you can't just get here without engaging. You absolutely have to fire this side to pull it midline. And it takes strength. So to get from here, when I notice I've been here for a while, I'm like, actually, it's the opposite side low back that will get me. I have to do my 3-step pelvic lift or core engagement. Pelvic bones together, belly button in, ribs down. Okay, let me shift and hold. And feeling a lot of deep strength when I'm doing that. And that is a core exercise. So you have anything that you're holding that's heavy, trying to keep your hips level. It's going to force your core to engage and work with it too. Don't just be like, oh, it's going to engage, so it'll just happen. I want you to mentally go through those steps and focus on, okay, keeping it strong, and notice how long you can keep it strong. It might be 5 seconds, and that's okay. And you have to kind of sling out of it. That's okay. Keep at it. And over the next week or so, you might notice you're getting up to 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds. And that's really good. So the side view is a slouching with holding. This is me at the end of the day, like I'm exhausted. And what I try to do is like, okay, I need to get my muscles holding me up, even though I'm also holding a child. What I'm working on here is preserving, getting those natural curves back. And here you can see my stomach's protruding out. I have a really big sway low back, which is going to hurt my back. My hips are tilted posteriorly, so they're tilted backwards. So my correction, engage my core, hip bones together, belly button in, ribs down to level my hips out. I'm untucking my tailbone a bit. So I'm going so right here I am tilted up, and now I have to engage, and I untilt and bring my butt back, and instead of settling down here, I'm growing tall. So those are the mental steps I'm going through to achieve this. And how long can I hold it? I don't know, it depends on what I'm holding. But if I'm holding it with that intention, I am building so much core, deep strength and hip stability that you lose through pregnancy and in early postpartum and with breastfeeding. And doing this here and there throughout the day is the best way to start building that foundational strength back. And we need that foundational strength for everyday life. And having it then allows you to progress into more formalized exercise with less risk of getting injured, because you are more aware of where you are in space and you have more strength to begin with. Okay. Car seat. Sorry. All right, well, number one, I feel like I want to remove this slide, but I keep it in because my first tip is don't ever carry a car seat. Keep the car seat in the car. Now, there are scenarios where you have to carry a car seat. And so this is showing they're very heavy, and they're very heavy, especially when you start to get like a 6, 9, 12-month-old in there. They can be like over 40 pounds that you're carrying. And that's just absurd for a 6-month postpartum woman to be carrying a car, or 3-month. It's just absurd to me, and you should avoid it if you can. Just take the baby out, carry the baby, not the car seat. But if you have to, I always say you need to hold the car seat close to your body. So I'm going to do a quick little mock demo. So I'm standing at the car door, and the car seat is here, and I need to get the car seat out. A lot of moms will keep themselves really far, and they kind of lift up the handle, and they're really far, so their hips are not touching that car seat, really far away. Where is all the pressure going when I do this motion? There should be like a blinking, flashing light on my low back. So easy to pull a low back muscle doing this, especially when you're early postpartum, you have a weak core. Okay, so I need to get close to the car seat, get my hips in contact with that car seat as I lift to get it out. And then I have like moms do these funky reach arounds similar to what you're seeing here. And lift and get that car seat connected to your body as soon as possible. And you kind of do this weird like back up, depending on the door situation, you gotta kind of finagle it. But how moms protect their back doing this is getting that car seat in contact with their body, and you can kind of leverage with it. So I'm pushing it into me, and I'm pushing my hips into it. Over here, it's down low. It's kind of pulling my shoulder out of the socket. It's making my spine go off to the side. It's really floppy, so it's hard to control. It's much harder on the core to engage when it's hanging low. When you bring it up to hip level where your center of gravity is, and you wedge it into you, protecting your back, making it easier for your core to support the movement. and you're reducing your risk of getting injured. Bath time. So with little newborns, we should be bathing them on a table in a little newborn bath or on the counter. We should be bathing them at a height that is at least your hip level, if not up to your ribs, so you don't have to bend. Okay, even hip level, you do usually bend a little bit, and hopefully you're bending your knees. So I'm not hip level table. I'm not just doing this. I'm doing this. And then I get that little squat that helps during bath time. So to engage your glutes and strengthen your glutes to protect you from getting low back pain. Now, once you transition to a bathtub, I do this sometimes and I stand up and I go, oh my God, what did I just do? So my neck is very crooked and my low back is getting all the pressure here and my hamstrings are really having to work. So better is to get those pads that you can kneel on and you're just kind of leaning over. This is much gentler on your back, but what's not great about this? These are not natural curves. So better yet, and there's two bonuses to this. First bonus, I'm sitting on a stool. First bonus is I have the natural curves in my back. Second bonus is by having to open my legs that way, the pelvic floor relaxation posture. And a lot of moms have more tight pelvic floors than loose pelvic floors. And so opening and doing that, what we call abduction, legs apart, is a nice stretch for those adductors and relaxation for the pelvic floor. So little added benefit. Right. Breastfeeding. So this is a common, I have Kirsten doll, I don't have any breastfeeding children anymore to take a photo, so I pulled out Kirsten. This is common, just kind of lounging down in bed and neck is crooked down to look at baby. I'm always suggesting when moms say, oh, I get so sore with breastfeeding, I say, okay, first thing I want you to try to do is at least 50% of your breastfeedings during the day. So maybe you have 10 of them, so try for 5, where you are sitting with your hips higher than your knees. So it doesn't have to be in bed. It could be a chair in the house or a couch in the house. But that is good. You need lots of pillows. And I want you with your hips higher than your knees, you are more easily able to get the natural curves. Okay, when our hips are lower than our knees, it's really hard to do that, almost impossible. All right, and then once baby latches, you don't have to stay looking awkwardly forward like I am, but when we crook down the whole time, I think every mom has found out like how sore your neck can get. So I say once baby latches and is kind of settled for a minute, to look forward or even to do the opposite up. So if I was looking down to my left breast, then I'm looking up to the right, kind of balance out that motion. I love side lying breastfeeding, especially for at night. So instead of sitting up or lounging in bed like this, the side lying and getting a pillow between your legs is helpful and making sure your head's supported. I'm going to pause while the helicopters go by. They're so loud. I live right next to the Marine Corps base. Okay, so here, baby carrying. I could do a whole little half hour on pelvic floor and baby carrying. In these pictures, what I'm demonstrating is this is very low on my hips and baby is like hanging down. So notice she is, it's hard, these aren't great photos, but she is much lower, and the lower she is, and she's big, she's a 2-year-old here, is going to pull me forward, making my thoracic curve more prominent and probably flattening my lower back, or it could be exaggerating my low back curve. So I always tell moms, I want you snugging in your carrier as snug as you can around your natural waist. So you see the distance here is only maybe an inch or 2, and now there's like 4 inches on my shirt. So I lifted it up a good amount. It's at my natural waist. And I am more able when you do that, she's higher, tighten in, more able to preserve the natural curves. It's hard to see in these photos. So I'm going to go on to another aspect of baby wearing that's really important, and that's what's happening with your core inside. So when we're really weak, we need to have pressure to have stability, right? So to get pressure, you may push out your belly to get that pressure to have stability. And what happens when we push out? Well, if we're doing it through our breathing cycles, where that pressure is going down on our pelvic floor and it's also going out on your linea alba, potentially making more of a diastasis. So you need to be doing that gentle engaging of your core. It doesn't have to be a max contraction, but you want to be not pushing against the baby carrier. You want to be going in with, so as you get that inward pressure, you're following that inward pressure. So I've had some moms say, well, then I can't wear a baby as long. And I say, then you shouldn't be wearing baby as long. You may only be able to wear baby 20 minutes, and then you just absolutely cannot maintain posture, cannot maintain breath cycle, cannot maintain pressures. If you're wearing baby much longer and relying on that outward pressure or some other compensation that your body is deciding to do, you can be creating pelvic floor problems. So I love baby carriers, but they do need to be used with caution and good body awareness of what mom is doing and how mom is holding herself, especially in those early weeks when there's a lot of core weakness. All right, so check-ins. Blow before you go. So by blowing before you go, engages your pelvic, your deep core. Pulling the hip bones together, checking for neutral hip alignment. So after you get on baby, in the baby carrier, where are your hips? Are you tilting forward to get more of a ledge for baby to sit on? Or are you neutral? You should be neutral, and you should be engaging your core a bit and preserving your natural curves. So if you're going through these kind of check-ins or doing these regularly throughout your day, that's going to help you following better postures, better management of pressure, better ergonomics. Let's see. Okay. So breathe, making sure you breathe through movement. Tune into your body. That's why we went through that body awareness meditation, the morning movement routine. That's how you can tune into your body. Take time for yourself to unwind what you just did. The amazing feats. I thought I had a different slide next. The amazing feats that you've done through the day, just functioning and doing your daily activities, and doing them with more awareness that helps restore your body rather than breaking down your body. Okay, it is a choice if you have the awareness. And through this course, I hope you're having that awareness. So now you can make the choice. And we can't be perfect all the time. We can't have perfect ergonomics all the time. I go into every wrong position you saw in those pictures every day or every time I do it. And then I go, oh, I'm doing this wrong, and I correct it. Okay, I talk about this, I teach this, and I am not perfect, but when I recognize it, I don't beat myself up. I just go, oh, I need to realign. It's going to feel better. It's going to help me engage my core and keep me strong and keep me balanced. So taking mindful moments, this is a great, you may not have time. Let me go, this is kind of not in a great order, but you may not have time to do this. This is great. These are 2 postures from restorative yoga that really can unwind a lot of the tensions that moms have. But we don't always have time to get into these. These are in that postpartum self-care deck. But we do have time to just pause and be mindful. So one of my favorite ones is just doing the senses. Closing your eyes, see what you see, hear what you hear, taste what you taste, smell what you smell, and feel what you feel. And just tuning into those things for 5 seconds each. Listening to your breath. So Taking an inhale. And a couple, I'm just hearing it. I love this app, Breathe to Relax. You set up duration of breath, and it has this cool metronome to watch. I use it sometimes when I'm really like, and I'm feeling very flustered or very upset about something. And I have it set up where it's an extended exhale. You can set up the amount of time you inhale and exhale. So I have it set up where I inhale like 4 seconds and I exhale 8. And when I'm really upset, the first few rounds, I have trouble during the 8. But then by the 10th round, I'm breathing out 8 seconds. I'm starting to feel my core engage. I can feel the tension kind of drifting away. And it takes probably 2 minutes to do that. Looking at nature. When we look at nature, it activates our parasympathetic. That's why like having things like plants around you or windows is so helpful. Being in nature is even better, like feeling the grass, sand in your toes. That was a homework thing I would give my clients a lot. When they were really stressed and really upset coming into the office, I'd say, okay, after this appointment, before you go to bed tonight, I want you to put your bare feet on the earth. It's very grounding, and just spend a moment just observing how that feels. Listening to the sounds in nature, feeling the air flow around you. So important that moms take time to do these things too. When you are not caring for yourself, you're not caring for your children as well as you could be. We need to be first, and then we can show up and be so much better for our children. So these are some examples of unwinding. I love, so any moms who are interested in yoga in postpartum or even during pregnancy, but prenatal yoga is best for pregnancy. In postpartum and anytime you're feeling stress, I encourage you to seek out restorative yoga or yin yoga. And then, of course, giving yourself some grace and laughing. Laughter is a great way to diminish the stress. And thank you so much for watching and being here. So this week, the homework, choosing 2 or 3 activities that you do daily to focus on your posture, pressure, and ergonomics while doing them. Decide on a way to cue or remind yourself to do this. Like, how are you going to remember to pay attention when you sit at your desk and when you put the car seat in the car and when you push the stroller? And just thinking of something. What are you going to say to yourself? What will you check in on for each activity? And a bonus, take a picture of you, like how you used to do it and how you're trying to do it now. I think it's very motivating in a group format to see other people and what they're doing and how they're doing it. All right, so that was right about an hour. I think we're at the end. Let me stop share. And thank you so much for joining in. I am going to stop the recording, but I will hang out for a few minutes. We'll see you next week.